Hello and welcome to the old Fliers. The dead man switch is a feature on locomotives to ensure that the train driver is alert and hasn't fallen asleep at the wheel. Have you ever wondered if aircraft have something similar to this? Do pilots ever fall asleep, putting themselves and others in mortal danger? I'm not talking about the situation where a pilot is incapacitated because of a health event or hypoxia. That usually doesn't end well.
Syracuse American 550s out of 15,000 for 5,000. Medical emergency. Captain is incapacitated. Request handling for runway 10 landing.
As demonstrated when in September 2000 the pilot of a Beech 200 Super King and his passengers suffered hypoxia, the plane flying for 5 hours before running out of fuel. A vigilance control to minimise hypoxia responding to an unresponsive pilot by descending to a low altitude would be life-saving. In 2019, the Garmin G3000 became the first general aviation avionics suite capable of automatically diverting an aircraft to the nearest airport and landing it in the event a pilot fails to interact with the aircraft's controls or respond to system prompts. This automation capability has been made possible by advancements in computing, control and navigation technologies and is of particular importance in a general aviation setting since private aircraft are often flown by only a single pilot. It was Charles Lindbergh who flew the Atlantic solo, awake for 33.5 hours, who describes utter fatigue so well. He said, "My mind clicks on and off. I try letting one eyelid close at a time while I prop the other open with my will. My whole body argues dully that nothing life can attain is quite so desirable as sleep. My mind is losing resolution and control." End of quote. We ask a lot of long-haul pilots flying through the night. A human circadian rhythm is a physical, mental and behavioural change that follows a 24-hour cycle. These natural processes respond primarily to light and dark, determining our body's functions. If you have flown across many time zones and arrive suffering jet lag, you will know how debilitating this can be. International pilots cope with this. They have to. So, how would you go about identifying when a pilot falls asleep, and how would you wake him or her up? Here in Western Australia's Pilbara mining region, many trucks are fitted with eyelid detection cameras to recognise the signs of a drowsy driver. The truck is remotely stopped. Bit hard to do that in a plane though. The US Strategic Air Command developed a dead man switch for its nuclear bombers known as Special Weapons Emergency Separation System. That ensured the nuclear payload detonated in the event of the crew becoming incapacitated. It's true. A fail deadly rather than a fail safe. Rather extreme for a passenger jet. During World War II, both Axis and Allied pilots were given amphetamines to keep them awake over many hours. More than 35 million 3-milligram doses of Pervitin were manufactured for the German Army and Air Force between April and July 1940. More recently, during the Persian Gulf War, about half of all American bomber pilots admitted to voluntary dosing to keep them awake. 2 Ethiopian Airlines pilots were flying from Kenya to Addis Ababa in Ethiopia when they fell asleep. When their Boeing 737 approached their destination but had not yet begun to descend, alerts were raised. The autopilot system had kept the jet cruising at 37,000 feet while the pilots were sound asleep. Air traffic control made numerous unsuccessful attempts to get in touch with the crew. The autopilot disconnected after the aircraft passed above the runway of their destination, and that set off an alarm, waking up the crew. Weren't they in for a shock? The pilots manoeuvred the plane around and made a safe runway landing 25 minutes later. That wouldn't be the end of the matter, I am sure. Pilots do fall asleep during day flights too. An experienced Queensland pilot was on the ferry flight in a Cessna 208B when disturbed sleep the night before, a too warm cabin and flight at 11,000 feet without supplemental oxygen induced a 40-minute nap. He overflew his destination by 111 kilometres but did awaken to land nearby. The following is from Boeing's Flight Crew Operating Manual detailing when FMC does not detect crew activity over a predetermined time. So what does an actual oral alarm sound like? This is a Boeing 777 asking for a pilot response, getting none, and alarming. Enough to waken the dead, or soon to be dead if the pilot doesn't awaken. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button to encourage new content.